Why Kathy Hilton isn't joining RHOBH full-time for now. Kathy Hilton has made it clear she's not ready to become a full-time cast member on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Although both of her sisters, including Kyle Richards, have held full-time roles, Kathy is perfectly happy staying on as a friend of the cast. But could she ever change her mind? Kathy's comfortable role on RHOBH. Despite not being a main cast member, Kathy has made a strong impression over the seasons. Even with less screen time, she's delivered several memorable moments. In season 14, for example, she turned heads when she accidentally walked into a model during Sutton Stracke's fashion show. She also made headlines when she casually asked Sutton if Dorit Kemsley should be hosting the event, unaware that there was ongoing tension between the two. Yet, no one seemed upset by the comment, showing just how effortlessly she navigates the group's dynamics. Of course, fans still talk about her time in Aspen back in season 12, a trip that stirred up quite a bit of conversation among the cast. Why she's saying no to full-time for now. Speaking at a QVC event, Kathy shared with Briefing on Bravo that she's not interested in holding a diamond at the moment. No, she said when asked about joining full-time. I want to be able to do this. I love being able to spend the time that I do. And we have a great time. And for me, it's fun. She's not alone in this view. Co-star Jennifer Tilly expressed a similar sentiment to TooFab, saying she enjoyed being a friend of this season. Because you can dip in and tip out. You're not too deep into the drama. But you know what? You never know. Diamonds and detours. Why Kathy Hilton isn't going full-time on RHOBH for now. It was a quiet Tuesday morning in Bel Air, and the scent of gardenias filled the air as Kathy Hilton stirred a sugar cube into her bone china teacup. Outside her French doors, a small team of gardeners trimmed the topiary swans in her backyard. Inside, all was serene, well, except for a dozen unanswered texts from Lisa Rinna, a voicemail from Andy Cohen, and an email from Bravo marked urgent. Kathy didn't mind the flurry. She had lived in the whirl of society and celebrity long before reality TV came knocking. And yet, despite the calls and the glittering lure of becoming a full-time housewife on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she wasn't biting. Not yet. This wasn't about paychecks, screen time, or even diamonds. It was about something much deeper, something that involved secrets, sisterhood, skincare, and one unforgettable night in Aspen. A life less scripted. While many knew Kathy as the glamorous mother of Paris Hilton, or as Kyle Richards' older, occasionally cryptic sister, few understood the rhythm of her daily life. Kathy lived in a world governed by her own rules, a world of caftans, crystal chandeliers, and cucumber water. Her mornings were filled with Pilates and peculiar rituals, like whispering affirmations to her handbag collection, and her nights, when not spent at charity galas, often ended with reruns of Columbo and half a lavender macaron. People think I live in chaos, she once mused to her butler, Maurice, not to be confused with Mauricio. But it's curated chaos. There's a difference. Her cameo appearances on RHOBH had left fans charmed, confused, and often doubled over with laughter. Who could forget the time she mistook Garcelle's glam squad for a gospel choir, or when she tried to order a baked potato at a sushi restaurant in Malibu? And yet, as endearing and delightful as her moments were, Kathy had drawn a line. She was not, under any circumstances, ready to join the show full-time. The Aspen incident revisited. To understand Kathy's reluctance, one must revisit the infamous trip to Aspen in season 12. What started as a luxurious getaway ended in a blur of cryptic comments, miscommunication, and tension that even Bravo's editing team couldn't smooth out. The headlines were brutal. Kathy meltdown, screamed one tabloid. Sister showdown in the snow, blared another. But behind the drama was a truth few realized. Aspen had broken something fragile in Kathy. Not her image, Kathy wasn't concerned with that, but the tenuous thread of peace between her and Kyle. That trip was like a snow globe, Kathy once said to friend Kris Jenner. All these beautiful little flakes floating around, and then someone shook it too hard. In the months that followed, Kathy turned inward. She attended therapy sessions led by a soft-spoken woman named Willow, who also happened to own a crystal shop in Topanga Canyon. She burned sage not just in her home, but once accidentally in a Beverly Hills Prada store. They were not amused. She needed space. Space from the cameras, from the expectations, and most of all, from the risk of once again fracturing her family in front of millions. The power of friend of. There's a freedom in being a friend of on The Real Housewives. You get to be mysterious, float in and out of scenes like a chiffon ghost, and deliver iconic lines without the burden of entire episode arcs. It was a role Kathy had perfected. I think of myself as the narrator that shows up halfway through the story. She joked at a QVC trunk show, surrounded by pearl-clad fans. I'm there when it gets interesting. Like dessert? She wasn't alone in this approach. Jennifer Tilly, a guest star and fellow Sparkle enthusiast, echoed her thoughts. You can dip in and dip out. You're not too deep into the drama. But you know what? You never know. Indeed, there was something elegant about not being too entangled. Kathy enjoyed the parties and the peonies, not the paranoia. And with a full-time role came pressure, contractual obligations, filming schedules, and the expectation to engage. And Kathy, truth be told, didn't always want to engage. Sometimes she just wanted to reorganize her scarf closet in peace. The Bravo negotiations and a peacock. Behind closed doors, the Bravo execs weren't giving up. Rumor had it Andy Cohen himself had sent a handwritten note sealed with a diamond sticker and spritzed with Tom Ford perfume. We adore you, Kathy, it read. The door is always open. Consider holding the diamond, just for a moment. Her agent, a man named Victor, who also booked dolphins for children's parties, told her the offer was generous. Think of the legacy, he said. You'll be on mugs, GFs, immortalized. But Kathy wasn't sure she wanted to be immortalized for yelling in a Sprinter van or storming out of a wine tasting in Palm Springs. Besides, there were other projects she was excited about, her scented candle line, her memoir in progress, Confessions of a Hilton, tea, truffles, and tequila, and her side gig raising rare peacocks in her backyard. I don't want to be a meme, she confided in Paris one evening. I want to be a mystery. Paris nodded. Mystery is power. Sisterhood and silver linings. Of course, at the heart of it all was her relationship with Kyle. Being on the show had brought them closer and torn them apart, sometimes simultaneously. There were moments when filming felt like therapy, a chance to speak truth and let old wounds air out in the California sun. But there were also scenes Kathy wished had never been recorded, words she would have rather said in private, and tears that felt too real for television. I love my sister, she often said, with a mix of pride and weariness. But we need to heal in our own time. Not Bravo's. The idea of joining full-time meant more on-screen confrontations, more questions about past family feuds, and more emotional labor than she was ready to give. For now, the occasional dinner party was enough. And in those moments, when they laughed over espresso martinis or reminisced about their childhood trips to Palm Springs, Kathy knew she had made the right choice. Kathy's 5-year plan and other myths. While she declined full-time status, Kathy wasn't ruling out the future. I could see myself holding a diamond someday, she admitted during a beauty brand launch. Just not this year, or next, or maybe ever, but you never know. She envisioned a version of herself that could waltz into season 17 in a feathered cape, dramatically accepting her diamond while doves flew overhead. Maybe there'd be a reboot, The Real Housewives of the Gilded Hills, perhaps, or a spin-off, Hilton High Tea, where she hosts etiquette lessons and ghost hunts in her mansion. In the meantime, she was content with her cameo culture, her curated chaos, and her curious rituals. She had recently begun organizing luncheons by zodiac sign. Besides, Kathy knew the truth. Sometimes the most powerful player isn't the one holding the diamond. It's the one everyone wants to. A final word for now. And so, the mystery of Kathy Hilton's decision remains just that, a mystery wrapped in vintage channel, scented with rosewater, and served with a slice of lemon tart. Maybe she'll join full-time one day. Maybe she won't. But whatever the future holds, one thing is certain. Kathy will do it on her own terms. Because at the end of the day, Kathy Hilton doesn't need a diamond to sparkle. She is the sparkle.